Friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Fragrance World. French Avenue. It's actually pretty much, it's the same thing. It's the same brand. So I'm gonna combine the forces of those two names. And today, 20 of their most popular scents are gonna get put through the ringer. I'm gonna rank them from S tier down to the trash, the D tier, the crap, and let you know where it all stands, yeah. All the fragrances that I'm gonna be ranking are here. So these are the ones on the chopping block. Let's begin with, that's wrong, no, it's Noble Red. Yes, Noble Red, not Nitro Red. Those are two completely different things. Legally, they are not the same thing. Yeah, definitely Fragrance World did not take a look at Nitro Red and go, ha, man, that small house over there. They're selling a lot of those, huh? Kill them. I mean, copy them. That's what, a little Freudian slip. So yeah, Fragrance World did absolutely that. They basically looked at Nitro Red and they said, cool, what if we copy that? And they actually did a pretty good job. It smells really close to Nitro Red, which of course kind of smells like Paco Rabanne's Invictus or Invictus Aqua with like a little bit of BR 540 in there. The question is this even necessary? Nitro Red is not expensive, so I'm gonna put this in the B tier. I guess this is B. It's not a bad scent, but why does it exist? Vulcan Pho. Oh, everybody knows this. This is actually one of the better God of Fire alternatives out there. It smells really, really nice. Great tropical scent, good mango note in there. Really well balanced also, got a ton of hype. It is a little more expensive than your typical Fragrance World fragrance, and also a little bit more than some of the French Avenue ones as well, but it still is darn good. People love the way this stuff smells. A tier. Maybe it doesn't quite crack the S tier, but it's just barely below it. But bros, you ain't seen nothing yet. What about this? Nah, that ain't Jean-Paul Gaultier. That's Jean Gustave. Yeah, Jean Gustave Homme Amaze. Everybody knows that. I mean, it is comically similar, isn't it? Now this one is obviously supposed to be Le Beau, and it does have some things going for it, mainly the price. It's pretty cheap. And then past the price, what else does it have going for it? Well, not much else. No, it has that cheap chemical funk to it, where when you smell it, you just go, yeah, that's almost a fragrance. I would imagine a lot of guys have had something similar happen where they're just getting into fragrances and they go somewhere like a discount store or something, like a Five Below in the US, you know, one of these very inexpensive stores, and they have fragrances there. And you think to yourself, well, I'm gonna check that out. Maybe they're not so bad. So you get one, you blast it on and you go, oh, that's an abomination. D tier, just gotta get this out of the way. Liquid Brun, S tier. Basically their most popular fragrance, and for good reason. This stuff came out and absolutely annihilated. Smells similar to PDM's Altair. Still one of the best fragrances that you can get that smells similar to that one. Just an absolute monster in fall and winter time. Huge compliment puller. Smells amazing for the price. That stuff rules. Is it overhyped? Possibly, because everybody and their mom has talked about it at this point. It's kind of like, you know, Club de Nuit for Armaf or Camera for Lattafa, but you know, to an extent, the reason they're talked about so much is because they are as good as they are. So S tier for that one, and I don't feel bad about it. Let's shake it up. Proud of you. Absolute. So this is Fragrance World once again, and similar style here. You know, the whole just get it as close as possible to the OG. That's what they're doing. And you can tell what it's supposed to be. Stronger with You. Absolutely. This one is not as strong as Stronger With You, absolutely, so keep that in mind. But it is very cheap. Some places you can get this for under 20 bucks. And nowadays, that is about as cheap as you're gonna find. And in terms of the scent profile itself, it's actually pretty good. This is one of those ones where you let it age a little bit and it smells infinitely better. It smells deeper, richer, bolder. It's maybe not a one-to-one with Stronger With You, absolutely. It's, you know, similar to that one, but it also has bits and pieces of some of the other Stronger With Yous in there, kind of, when you smell it. And even though the performance here is very average, I think for 20 bucks or less, A tier. On the lower end of A tier, I would say. Like this A tier, Vulcan Pho, is much higher, and you could maybe convince me to move this down to B tier, but I think as far as bang for buck, you know, that's what gets it up there into the A. Let's switch it up with another Vulcan. This time Black Friday limited edition. And this is much more of a specific scent profile. So this smells similar to Xerjov's Tony Iommi Deified. Much more of a niche scent profile, not as wearable for most people on a day-to-day sort of basis. And this one is going into C tier. But with the caveat, the reason it's in C tier is not because the quality is low. It's in C tier because it's not that wearable. Like I said before, a lot of people are gonna struggle to figure out when to wear this one, when to spray this one on, when to, have it worn with confidence. It's more that type of thing I could see a lot of people buying, blind buying, and thinking to themselves, great, this is useless for me. Now, if you wanna take into consideration only the quality, then you could bump that up and I wouldn't argue with you. But I think just overall, that's where it has to sit. It's more of a specific fragrance. Lumiere Garçon. So this fez wearing bottle right here smells similar to the one Luminous Night, which is a fragrance that I feel like should have been duped by everybody, but really wasn't. So go figure. And that one is very difficult to find, unfortunately. Dolce & Gabbana, bring it back. Look, if Versace can bring Eros Najim and pop that out everywhere, you can bring back the one Luminous Night and pop that out everywhere. Be smart, use your noggin, guys. What are you doing? What are you smoking? Like, oh, let's go. So yeah, if you want the original, you're gonna have to pay up right now, but this right here will get you most of the way there. The quality is great. It has a little bit of a boost on the incense, but outside of that, man, stuff rules. S tier. The bottle is weird though. I don't really like it. The fez looking cap is like fuzzy and plastic. That's weird. Outside of that, it rules. Now the next one we're gonna tackle is a hype beast, or it was at one point in time. Maybe not as much of a hype beast now. Code time! If you're looking for clones, designers, niche, whatever, shop at fragrance discounters to save cash. And I have a ton of codes to save even more money. They're also in the description so you can copy and paste. So we're talking Fragflex, we're talking JOMASHOP. Fragflex won 10% off every single time you shop there. Totally sick. Also the perfume box, Gift Express, Beauty House, and many more. All right, the fragrance, what is it? Spectre Ghost. What's interesting about Spectre Ghost is I almost feel like this is from a different time. This is like when French Avenue and Fragrance World were really just starting to like burst onto the scene. And it felt like every day there was something new to discover. It was like, oh, check that out, check that out, check that out. And not all of them were good. Some of them were ratchet, but it was still pretty interesting, It was a new time. And this is one of the ones that really caught on in a big way. Great atomizer, by the way. This is Ani by Nishane, and it still stands the test of time. This stuff is really solid. If you love vanilla, this is one that you gotta check out. Performance is locked in, and kind of kicked this line off in a big way, because the original Spectre, not so many people cared about that, but then Ghost, this was the one to get. Kind of a weird bottle, but I'm gonna pop this into A tier. That stuff's good. What about Spectre Wraith? That one came out afterward, and is completely different. This one is a Bikillian alternative. So yeah, I do think the all black kind of aesthetic works on this one. Looks pretty cool. So the fragrance it smells similar to is Black Phantom. So once again, one of those scents that is not for everybody. And the atomizer got worse. What's up with that? That one's got a great pressurized atomizer, and then this one, well, that's not how it's supposed to go. It's supposed to get better as time goes on, not worse. So in terms of the note breakdown, this has coffee. It's got a good amount of spices in there. It's got sugar as a note. Also has booze and woods. And just like the fragrance it smells similar to, it's not gonna be for everybody. Absolutely not. This is gonna be a fall winter time fragrance, more of an evening scent. And part of me wants to put it here with Vulcan Black, because again, it's gonna be more of that for a particular person type of scent, but I actually really like Black Phantom a lot. So I'm gonna put it here in the B tier. Definitely below Noble Red as far as day-to-day use, but I just really like that vibe, man. So if you wanted to move that one down a tier, I wouldn't argue too much. This next one has the wildest bottle out of all of these, Marmara. That is kinda cool. It is definitely unique. I don't mind it. I do have to say, once again, not gonna be for everybody. It has a pretty good pop of powder when you first spray it on. Definitely kind of an old school feel to it, just in the way that it initially hits. It reminds me of like, I don't even know what they're called, those like powdering pads that ladies have, or like back in the day. So, they would do like this and the powder and like the little compact or whatever, and then do this deal. Yeah, it's like a slap of that right across the grill when you spray this on, which is different, but I'm not sure how much I love it. In terms of what it smells similar to, Bois Imperial, sort of. It's like a different take on that. It's somewhat in that vibe, but not the same as it. And Bois Imperial also not that expensive, you know, at full retail, under $100. This one I'm gonna put into C tier. It has some interesting facets to it. I don't really like it a whole lot. Mirage Absolute. Now this I love. This smells similar to Leighton Exclusive, kind of actually between Leighton Exclusive and Leighton. One of the best fragrances of that style that you can possibly get on the lower end. As far as price goes, I mean, in terms of quality, it's actually really, really high. This is one of my absolute favorite Leighton style fragrances out there. For a while, this was difficult to find and people were jacking the price up. You know, if that happens again, it's absolutely not worth paying $100, $150 for it. But normal French Avenue prices, this stuff S tier all day. All day, easy, easy yes. Up next, Royal Blend Nero, which is basically French Avenue's answer to Camera. Now it does cost more than Camera, so keep that in mind. It's like 35 bucks most places. Also smells similar to Guy Sassava. That being said, this stuff will outperform Camera. It lasts longer, it projects more. It's really, really nicely done. The quality is very high. This stuff is one of the absolute best in that style, period. So we're talking anything Camera, Guy Sassava, Angel Share, like all of that whole family, one of the best. S tier once again. In between just straight up Royal Blend and Royal Blend Nero, I think I would go Nero. Ravine Ice, this one is a newer one, and it smells similar to Goldfield & Banks Pacific Rock Moss. Pacific Rock Moss, not very strong. This is a little bit more so, but not an absolute beast. Great smelling fragrance for summer, also spring. Really good daytime fragrance, office safe. This is one of those just grab, spray, go type of scents, you know? It's nothing overpowering as far as, like I said, the strength compared to anything in S tier. Like all of these will swallow this up. So I can't put this in S tier. It's not quite that level, but I think it kind of fits in here in A tier. I think this is a good spot for it. Yeah, I'd put this in A tier. I think it's better than what's in B tier. What about Ravine Ginger? This came out at the same time, you know, same bottle style and everything. And this is also a Goldfield & Banks. This one is Ingenious Ginger. And between these two, I've always gravitated more towards that one. I think that one's actually better, just as far as the day-to-day fragrance, as far as the wearability, the quality, everything else. Not that this is awful, but the ginger is very gingery. So what I mean by that is when you take this, you spray this bad boy on, that ginger just really has a bite to it. And some people may smell that and think it's absolutely fantastic. For me, I think I would like it to be maybe a little smoother, slightly sweeter, something like that, which would bring it a little bit more in line with the actual Goldfield & Banks, in my opinion. Also, the performance is kind of like Ravine Ice. It's not terrible, but it's not really overly strong. So I want to put this one here in C tier. It's better than D tier, but I don't like it as much as these. Ah, the one and only Moonlit Night. Ah, once again, the one luminous night. So the French Avenue one over here is in S tier. Where does this one go? Well, I can comfortably tell you that it goes in D tier. If you side by side this with that, in terms of quality, Lumiere Garçon destroys that one. The only thing this has going for it is the presentation is kind of similar to the one Luminous Night. I don't even think that's a positive, but I mean, you don't need it. Veneno Black up next. This one smells similar to By Kilian Smokin' Hot. And this is gonna be one that is a little bit divisive. It has an apple shisha tobacco note in there, which is huge when you first spray this stuff on. Just a massive dose of that apple coming across. And as it dries down, you're gonna get more of a smokiness that comes out. Again, the whole shisha tobacco thing. It is expensive compared to most other French Avenue and Fragrance World fragrances because it's usually around $55 or so, maybe even touching 60. I mean, the presentation looks pretty good, all things considered, assuming you like snakes, the whole Kilian thing. And this is one that's really tricky for me because on the one hand, I love the way this stuff smells. I love the way Smokin' Hot smells. I love the way that, you know, anything in that style smells. I like it, as long as it's well done. But then you've got to factor in that not everybody is gonna like this. It's not as wearable as a lot of these other ones here. It costs more money than a lot of the other ones. So I'm gonna put it into the A tier, but you could convince me to move that up into the S tier. Ether Extrait. This right here is Greenlee. Here's the deal with Ether. This stuff sucked when I first got it in. It was not good. It just smelled like rubbing alcohol and despair. That was it. It was like nothingness. Then I let it sit for a little bit, came back to it, and then it was fantastic. So this is one of those ones where if I'm judging based off the first spray, it would be here. in D tier very comfortably, but nowadays I have to put it up here in A tier. Extremely well balanced greenly alternative. Axis up next. Yeah, the name is actually on the bottom right there. So this one smells similar to Vanille Antique by Rado. Comes across a little bit unisex, but pretty nicely done. Doesn't really scream for attention all that much, but it does last for a pretty good amount of time. So it's one of those ones that just kind of leaves you with a nice little scent trail throughout the day. And looking at the whole lineup here, I feel like it has to go here into B tier. Probably like right in the middle of B tier, I guess. Because I would definitely wear these over it, but I also like this clearly more than those. So the final one, Liquid Brun, once again, limited edition. This just does the tried, tested, and true method of taking a fragrance and making it deeper and louder and woodier for a higher concentration, basically. It comes in a larger bottle than the standard one. It costs more than the standard one. Also projects more than the standard one. I think for most people that the original is the better buy. But if you want a little different flavor, you could get this one. And bumped up against everything up here, it has to go S tier. I would say maybe a little bit toward the bottom of the S tier, but still cleanly in that S tier. Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable about that. So guys, turns out I only did 19 when I first filmed this. And I'm not gonna turn those lights back on. It's full dungeon mode right now. It's what I deserve. I don't deserve the light. But I said 20, we're doing 20. So boom, Imperium. Obviously really similar looking to Raja Parfums Elysium. I'm sure that's a coincidence. It's not. I do like the Tiesto type logo that they throw on the front of the bottle. That's nice. The fragrance itself actually smells really good. Super wearable, smells similar to Elysium, only much cheaper. But there is a drawback. The performance is not great. So that's gonna drag this one down a little bit. I'm gonna put it in B tier. Pretend the other fragrances are still here. Why B tier? Because it smells good and it smells close enough to Elysium at the price point that you're not gonna really argue with that part of the scent. It's just the performance lets it down. It turns into a skin scent too quickly, and so B tier is where it belongs. Back to me in the past. There we go, guys. That is my definitive tier list for 20 of the biggest Fragrance World and French Avenue scents out there. I'll tackle some other ones another day. I wanna thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.